T-minus 6, 5, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. And where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
First of all, it's super cool. This doesn't have to be part of it, but I think it's so cool. I love teaching people how to use the scanner and seeing the look on their face the first time they see the scan being created in the software while you're capturing it.
Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is a full-service provider of large metal parts using Lincoln's in-house additive technology. The fact that we were going to make very large parts, measuring feet and meters, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, we knew that a coordinate measurement machine was not going to cut it. So we looked at alternatives, and 3D scanning fit the bill.
We chose 3D scanning opposed to conventional measurement techniques because it allows us to get a full 3D surface model of what we just printed, and then we can take that and compare it back to the original CAD model.
A lot of times we have parts with unique features. We want to make sure those features are exactly where they need to be. So we need the 3D scans to encompass all of the complex features that we're printing and also make sure that we can verify all of those features are correct.
There are a number of benefits the Creaform Metricscan 3D provides to us. First of all, it is very fast, so we can measure our parts in a matter of minutes. Secondly, it allows us to take the measurement tool to the parts rather than the parts to the tool. Our parts are very heavy and large, so minimizing the movement of the parts is important to us.
What makes the Metricscan great is that it's a non-contact solution. We're able to scan our parts and verify dimensional quality anytime during the manufacturing process, even mid-print when the part is still too hot to touch.
The Metricscan helps our business because we can have confidence that every part that goes out the door is according to customer specifications. Also, it helps us in speed to market because it is such a fast way of measuring parts. Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is growing, and as we expand, Creaform's Metricscan will continue to be an integral part of our manufacturing process.
T-minus 6, 5, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. And where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
First of all, it's super cool. This doesn't have to be part of it, but I think it's so cool. I love teaching people how to use the scanner and seeing the look on their face the first time they see the scan being created in the software while you're capturing it.
Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is a full-service provider of large metal parts using Lincoln's in-house additive technology. The fact that we are going to make very large parts, measuring feet and meters, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, we knew that a coordinate measurement machine was not going to cut it. So we looked at alternatives, and 3D scanning fit the bill.
We chose 3D scanning opposed to conventional measurement techniques because it allows us to get a full 3D surface model of what we just printed, and then we can take that and compare it back to the original CAD model.
A lot of times we have parts with unique features. We want to make sure those features are exactly where they need to be. So we need the 3D scans to encompass all of the complex features that we're printing and also make sure that we can verify all of those features are correct.
There are a number of benefits the Creaform Metricscan 3D provides to us. First of all, it is very fast, so we can measure our parts in a matter of minutes. Secondly, it allows us to take the measurement tool to the parts rather than the parts to the tool. Our parts are very heavy and large, so minimizing the movement of the parts is important to us.
What makes the Metricscan great is that it's a non-contact solution. We're able to scan our parts and verify dimensional quality anytime during the manufacturing process, even mid-print when the part is still too hot to touch.
The Metricscan helps our business because we can have confidence that every part that goes out the door is according to customer specifications. Also, it helps us in speed to market because it is such a fast way of measuring parts. Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is growing, and as we expand, Creaform's Metricscan will continue to be an integral part of our manufacturing process.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this online webinar of Ringer Events. Can you hear my voice loud and clear? Before I begin, I would like to hear your voice. Please, in the chat box now, say hi to me or say yes, you can hear my voice loud and clear. I will wait for you for 1 minute before I begin the whole session. So I have to make sure. Today we have a lot of interesting topics today. So I hope you will enjoy and also learn a lot from today's event. Also, this is a very special platform. Maybe you noticed that already. We have some functions like chat box, and on your left-hand side, we have very interesting boost function, boost page, and the networking page. Hi. Hello, Muhammad. It's very nice to see you. Very good to see you say hi to me. And the rest of people, we can start now. Allow me to introduce you one more time. Thank you, Titikorn. Yes, hello. Good afternoon. My name is Jack. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host today, editor from Ringer Trade Media. I want to welcome you all to our very exciting and interesting virtual conference. The topic, the ASEAN Smart Factory Summit 2022, Automotive Manufacturing Industry. This event will focus on how to assist manufacturers in the automotive and parts industry in Thailand and the rest of the Southeast Asia to quickly upgrade to smart factories. and to cope with the impact of COVID-19, as well as guide the electric vehicle industry to expand its development. In addition to discussions on future trends, we also invite relevant industry experts to give speeches on technology. So, before we begin, very insightful presentations, I would like to acknowledge our business partner, Creaform. Never stop innovating, a motto that represents the core value of Creaform. From its beginning in 2002 all the way to now 2022, which marks the 20th anniversary of this company. To this day, Creaform continues to develop, manufacture, and also sell cutting-edge 3D portable and automated measurement technologies that provide innovative solutions for applications such as 3D scanning, reverse engineering, quality control, non-destructive testing, product development, and numerical simulation, FEA and CFD. Its products and engineering services redefine the boundaries in a variety of industries, including automotive, aerospace, consumer products, heavy industries, manufacturing, oil and gas, power generation, research, and education. So, don't forget to visit their booth to learn more from Creation on your left-hand side menu. And then I'd like to introduce our VIP guest, GWM, Great Wall Motor Company Limited, referred to as GWM, is a world-renowned SUV and pickup manufacturer. Its products cover three categories: SUV, passenger car, and pickup. With over 70 holding subsidiaries, GWM has more than 59,000 employees. GWM has the Havel Technology Center with the 5 functions including R&D, production, testing, modeling, and data processing. GWM has realized the R&D layout of vehicles and parts and made a qualitative leap in the terms of R&D strengths. In the future, it will invest 30 billion yuan to build global R&D systems and form cutting-edge advancement in active and passive safety technology, intelligent interconnection, automatic pilot, and other aspects too. So that's why don't forget to visit their booths also and watch many videos to learn more about GWM. We found many information and many videos in the chat box, not in the chat box, in the booth page function. So don't hesitate to leave the questions or your comments in the chat box in booth page and also in the conference page too. So I believe the managers there will be very happy to talk to you or arrange a meeting for you maybe. Now, let me give you a rundown of our agenda today. For the first part of our agenda, we will have the market trends for automotive industry by Thailand Board of Investment. This will be followed by technical presentation by our business partner, Creaform. Next is another technical presentation, this time by LMC Automotive. We will then have networking and booth visit time after this first part. And on our second part of the agenda is market trends and automotive industry by Integrated Microelectronics Inc. This will be followed by market overview by Thai Automation and Robotics Association. We will then end our session with the final closing remark. By then, there will be time for you to fill in our feedback form and tell us your opinions so that we can make a better service, better event for you next time in the future. The feedback form function page is also on the left-hand side on the menu bar. So let's begin the first half of our agenda. So this is our live presentation time. By the way, don't hesitate to leave a question to our speakers on the chat box. They will have time for Q&A after each presentation. Let me introduce the first speaker. For our first speaker, let me welcome Mr. Chanin Khaochan, Deputy Secretary General of Thailand Board of Investment, as known as BOI. Some of you might remember Mr. Chanin from our previous conference. He's back today, and this time to talk about Smart Factory Policy 2022. Mr. Chanin, now please try to turn on the microphone and camera. You may have the floor now. It's very good to see you again, Chanin. Hello.
Hello, Jack.
I'll wait for you when you successfully sharing the screen to all the audience, and then
Okay.
I will
May
close
I
my
start
microphone
sharing
and
now?
camera. Okay.
May I
Can
start?
you share the screen now?
Okay. Moment.
Dear delegates, seize the chance to leave a question in the chat box now. It's okay.
Okay.
That's all right. It looks very, very interesting, very rich, very rich. I have to say the content. And please click the hide button for the notification at the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
You have the floor now. I'll be back after your presentation for the live Q&A. Delegates,
Okay.
see you later.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. Good afternoon, everyone in Thailand and in other countries as well. So, my name is Chanin Khaochan. I am the Deputy Secretary General of the Thailand Board of Investment, or BOI, that you know. So, I will talk to you about the policy on the government, how to promote the investment on smart factory. My topic will have 2 points about investment support measure and investment promotion policy in smart factory. It means how we provide incentive. Okay. First of all, let me introduce our office at the BOI a little bit. So the BOI, we provide, we are the government agency who do promote investment to Thailand. What we can to support on incentive to the investor is we can provide tax incentive and non-tax incentive. And tax incentive, you may get the exemption on import duty on machinery, exemption on import duty on raw material or essential material to import for produce and then export, and exemption for import duty on goods that you need to import for do R&D in Thailand. And you can you may get the corporate income tax exemption up to 13 years, and may get additional 50% corporate income tax deduction up to 5 years after finish the exemption of the in CIT. And for non-tax incentive, for the company who have the shareholder in Thai, from the foreigner shareholder more than 50%, normally you cannot buy the land. But under the BI incentive, the foreigner, even 100% foreigner shareholder can buy the land for your project in Thailand. And we also facilitate for your expat who come to Thailand to work, to get a work permit and visa. Our condition for the investment that we have not restriction so much, so we allow 100% foreign ownership in the company in Thailand, and we have no condition on local content, and we have no export requirement, and no restriction on the currency, foreign currency. Come to about the incentive that you may have more interest, how the BOI can provide incentive to the investment in Thailand. So we can say that we provide the system in standard incentive, and also standard incentive, it depends on the activity or the product you are going to produce in Thailand. You are going to do service in Thailand, and they can get up to 8-year corporate income tax exemption. Apart from the standard incentive, you can get additional incentive if you do investment on merit base in the certain amount at our condition, meet our condition. And you may get additional incentive if you your activity located in the certain area that we decide, like if you are inside the industrial estate area, you can get additional corporate income tax exemption 1 year, or you are in EEC area, EEC Eastern Economic Corridor, that you may get additional incentive, or if you are in the SEZ Special Economic Zone in the 10 provincial, the border of Thailand, you can get more incentive like this. For the additional incentive from the merit base, that can provide you the option to get more incentive if you have the certain investment on R&D or on training, or develop the local supplier. Altogether, if you have the expense up to 1% of the compared to the total sale in the first 3 years, you can get the additional 1 year. If you meet 2%, you can get additional 2 years. If you meet 3%, you can get 3 years. Or if you calculate only R&D expense, and that expense is 1% to the compared to the total first 3 year of revenue, you can get 1%. If you 5%, you can get 5 years. So that means you can get up to 5 years if you calculate only R&D only for the project. And BOI will provide incentive at the project base, not the company base. So it means when we calculate the revenue, we calculate only the revenue that you apply to BOI, not the total in your company. And your company apply to BOI one project, you can do other business as well, like you do automation assembly, the robotic assembly in the BOI project. On the other hand, your company can do two agency like that. We do not force that you should do only one activity that under BOI promotion, but the activity you do without BOI promotion that we call non-BOI, you have to separate the accounting system for revenue department to check. This is the system that we can provide incentive to investor. And so come to the smart factory. So automation and robotics, when we're talking about smart factory in Thailand, we will concentrate on automation and robotics. So automation and robotics is the target industry that we Thailand would like to promote to add the new S-curve, add the new growth engine for the Thai economy. So we will provide the priority how to support this industry to develop more in Thailand. And the supply chain for robotic and automation industry. So we start from system integrator, so about the designer to integrate the machine together to be system that can get the BOI promotion as well. So system integrator can get the corporate tax incentive exemption 8 year. And for software development also get the 8-year corporate tax exemption. And for part and component make to assembly automation or to make the whole start from part design, that you will get the certain amount of CIT corporate tax exemption that I will show you in the next slide. And apart from that, we also link you to the user, automation and robotic user, and we also promote the demander to get privilege and incentive to install the automation and robotic system in their factory and or in service in their business. Okay, this is about the good point of the automation and robotic that I think you all know well, better than me. I will not talk in detail. And they have the study from Financial Times that I expect that the size of the robotic market will increase from 2020 44 billion to next 5 years will be on double, almost double, 73 billion. So this will increase a lot of the opportunity for the one who are in the robotic and automation industry. And for Thailand, we still adopt on robotic under the average of the ASEAN. So that means Thailand still have plenty of room to adopt this the automation and robotic. This is the wide room for the one who do this business to sell to the manufacturing in Thailand to have automation and robotic in their manufacturing or in their service station. And this slide will show that you can see that from the research of Krung Sĩ Research, they found that in Thailand, just only 15% that already have the automation system. So it means about 85% of industry that still have the room to install the automation system, and the government also try to encourage them to go to more automation and even go to industry 4.0. And the graph in the right hand side, you can see that the increasing of the shipment of the industrial robot to Thailand is increasing very sharp. So from 2016 increased to 5,000 in 3 years, and I think the next 3 years from 2022 it will meet about 10,000 units a year. So that means just only the industrial robotic number that increasing a lot, not include the other type of automation and other equipment. And this is the sample that Thai industry can adopt the robotic system in many kind of their production process. So from welding, assembly, or painting, and many things that this will also help the manufacturing in Thailand to solve their problem about the manpower, because in some area that it is difficult to get the manpower to do that job, and the tech industry in Thailand will have higher demand on robotics. The system in Thailand to develop the robotic and automation cluster in Thailand, we work together between many agencies, many ministries to work together to develop the robotic and automation cluster. We develop from the user, it means the existing factory, that we would like to encourage them to upgrade their manufacturing process to more automation and use more robotic. So we provide, like a BOI, we provide incentive to them if they would like to install the robot automation or robotic in their factory. And we also provide incentive to its system integrator who is the linker between the buyer and the automation supplier. And for the automation equipment maker, the government already reduced the import duty for raw material part and material to be produced at the robotic and automation. They will have no import duty, but they should be submit to the Thai German Institute to see that the part and component they are going to import and they are going to do for assembly the robotic. The TGI will endorse this and inform to custom office. Then the importer can get no import duty for part and component to produce the robotic and automation system. And for the technology capability enhancement, there we have Center of Excellence or Robotic Excellence that under the Ministry of Industry that will integrate many agencies together to support the entrepreneur to adopt on robotic and automation. Okay, come to the incentive we provide for the automation and robotic industry. We provide both supply side and also encourage demand side, as I said. In the demand side, we separate into two group. Group A is the activity under the BOI that can get the corporate tax incentive, corporate tax income tax exemption. Could be it the activity that normally if they apply to BOI, they will not get corporate tax income exemption. Okay, this is about the incentive for the supply side. So we provide up to 8 years for the manufacturing of automation system robotic, up to 8 years, depend on the level of the processing they do in Thailand. And they also have the chance to get additional income incentive package for merit based, as I explained before. So this means some of them, like automation system, they may get corporate income tax exemption up to 13 years. So how we from this system, I would like to show you with simply more easier to consider that how to get the incentive. If the system you are going to do, you start from design, system design or engineering design, and you also design and develop the software and embedded system, and you make a part and assembly and install it for your customer, that you can get 8-year tax exemption. But if you have you don't have the design or system integration, you have only step 2, 3, 4, you can get 8-year exemption with the cap. It means that normally when BOI provide tax incentive exemption, we provide how long time? 8 years. You can get 8 years, but the tax you can get exemption not more than the investment you expend in the project normally. But for the first line, you can get 8 years without cap. So however, how much profit you get, you can get the tax exemption the whole amount along 8 years. But the second line, you can get tax exemption just limit to the number of investment you invest in the project. And if you have only step 3 or 4 and 5, you will get the 5-year exemption. It means that the lower line is you do only assembly or making a part and assembly. So no design in the project, you can get only 5-year corporate tax exemption. This is the for supply side. And this in detail, I will not talk in detail. I have not time, but I already explained. Okay, come to the demand side. How we provide incentive for demand side. The existing production line or service or of the company that you already have, and that activity should be BOI activity, should the same as the BOI activity, and then you already have no corporate tax exemption. If the activity with the BOI CIT exemption, the project will come to BOI to apply to install the robotic. With the existing the production, the corporate tax exemption you should finish already. Then you can apply to BOI, and you get tax exemption for 3 years. The limit of tax will be 50% of your total investment of the automation. But if your system automation you invest in Thailand, you have the domestic industrial linkage cost more than 30%. It means from maybe the part and component made in Thailand cost and design cost total more than 30%. You will get tax exemption 100% of your total investment along the 3 years you get the incentive. And the condition is you have to invest at least 1 million baht. This is the condition for Group A. And Group B also the same. But Group B is for the new project, that like a new factory you are going to set up, and your activity normally if you apply to BOI you will not get the corporate tax exemption. But if you install the automation system in your project, you will get corporate tax exemption for 3 years with the same condition that I mentioned before. So this is the system that we provide incentive for the user to encourage them to install the automation system and the robotic system in their factory or in their service. So I mentioned that the activity that the business that can apply to BOI should be the activity under the BOI activity. Actually, BOI activity we promote a lot of activity. Then and you can check from our website. You go to BOI Go Thai website and go to see the guide to the board of instrument. Then you can see this book and you click this. You can see the list of the activity that BOI can promote and provide incentive. This is the way that you can get from BOI. Okay, and for the partner that we work together to approve the project, we have the Center of Robotic Excellence that integrate the member from many universities. So this will develop the people to upgrade their skill to handle on automation and robotic. And this call also support BOI to recheck that the system that come to BOI that is the automation system or not. If the call approved, then BOI will provide incentive as I mentioned before. So all about this is the thing that the BOI already provide to incentive and support to investor, and maybe the company in Thailand would like to install the robotic and automation system. Apart from that, for the investor or the foreigner who thinking about to come to Thailand to do business about the automation or system integration or software development, anything that you can apply the smart visa for BOI. Smart visa is the more special than normal visa because this visa integrated work permit together already. So you will get visa and work permit in the same time, and we will provide you 4-year visa and can continue up to the level that you are going to do activity in Thailand. And this visa no need re-entry required. So that means you can go in and go out from Thailand easier. And we also have the unit that we call build unit that can support you to do business matching between the Thai company, existing company, or that means the way to go to the market in Thailand, contact to the company that may need the automation and robotic system. And every year the build unit the BOI will organize the Subcon Thailand exhibition on May, so that with this exhibition you can networking to get more market in Thailand. That is the thing that I would like to share with you. I hope that if you have any question, please and do not hesitate to ask me. Okay, Jack.
Hello, welcome back.
Yep.
Thank you for the very insightful presentation. And please, let's go to the Q&A mode altogether. And let me publish the question for you, Mr. Chanin Khaochan.
Okay.
I believe we can start answering these questions.
Okay, for example, I am foreigner and I want to make the present of my business in Thailand for some particular project. No. Can I open branch office? If yes, for how long can I enjoy Thai business status? Okay. Okay. You may open the branch office in the like a representative office, but I encourage you to establish the company to be the branch office. To establish the company in Thailand now not so difficult. I think not more than 1 week you can get the establish of the company in Thailand, and we need only 3 founders to establish the company. And after that, if you would like to get the visa and work permit, you contact to BOI. So we will facilitate on that. Not so long time for you to get that. I think about 1 or 2 weeks. You can start your business in Thailand.
Sounds very good. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Thailand is considered an important growth market for automation and robotics here in Southeast Asia. With this in line, I believe human resource must be also get upgrade. Yes. How are the human resource if the government provide fund directed to research, development, and education? Yes, the government, as I show you in the slide, that we have the core, the Center of Robotic Excellence that we handle on develop the robotic cluster in Thailand. There we also provide the service, work together with Ministry of Labor and university to provide the class for upgrade the worker in the Thailand, and they also provide the budget for them. And if you are BOI promoted company, you can enjoy the privilege from the system that you have experience on the develop the people. You can get a privilege from BOI as well. That if you need to more in detail, please contact to BOI. And if you are in EEC area, EEC also office also have the program to develop the people, work together with the academic still, and they have budget to support as well.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, Thailand.
We still have time for, I think, 2 to 3 questions. So how about this one? Short one, finally.
Do you also provide incentive to non-BOI promoted projects? Okay. If you mean that the recent project, your recent project is non-BOI promoted project, and you want to install the automation system in your factory, if your activity is under BOI activity, even now you are non-BOI, you can apply to BOI to get incentive to install the robotic and automation in your factory.
Sure. I hope that answered your question, Mr. or Miss Delegate. Let's go to the next one. Mr. Chanin, please drink some water. Yes, you talk a lot, I know. Yeah, take a short break. Okay, the next one is also a medium one, not so long, not so short.
Okay, is there a secret successful formula to create more resilient supply chain? How involved is BOI from a manufacturing and marketing standpoint in Thailand? Okay. For BOI, we try to set up the policy to support the manufacturing and service sector in Thailand to upgrade themselves to compete in the market. And we also have some coordinate with the other agency to provide grant to support to them. So for BOI, mainly from BOI is incentive, and we work together with other agency to support that company to upgrade themselves, and to sometimes some company have to diversify their product to the new product. So in this case, we will work together how to support, and the build unit, as I mentioned before, we work together with you to support you.
All right, thank you very much. And I believe we still have time for the very last one question. So, Mr. Chanin, Khaochan, I believe we can have discuss on this too.
Do you have a department for studying technology and the type of need and adoption of this technology? Frankly speaking, honestly, BOI, we have not specific department on that. But the way we do is we work together with the agency related, like Ministry of Higher Education, who control the university, and work together with the Ministry of Industry to do industry promotion. That's the way we do. So we ourselves don't have. Some may have not enough knowledge. We work together with agency, then we can adopt that knowledge and make the policy to provide to help the entrepreneur in Thailand.
Great. And I believe that will end our live Q&A session. However, before we go, Mr. Chanin Khaochan, I would like to ask you a final question. Would you like to add on something of your topic, or you have some conclusions or highlights you want to share with our delegates at last?
Okay. In Thailand, the automation and robotics is still have a wide room for the investor to come to enjoy the benefit from that, and the government has a strong policy to upgrade Thai manufacturing to be Thai industry 4.0. So I hope that with the facility from BOI can support you all to grow together in our ASEAN country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
and very, very honored, very happy to see you join our Ringer platform once again. I'm looking
okay.
forward to see you at our future events as well. See
Yep.
you.
Well, bye
Bye
bye. See you
bye.
again.
Stay safe, stay healthy. All right, dear delegates, let's welcome back to our live presentation scene. And also in the chat box, say thank you or show your gratitude to Mr. Chanin Khaochan. And now let's begin with our next presentation. By the way, if you have any further question after the live Q&A, after all the session, you just think about it or you don't have time to ask, no worries. Fill in the feedback form and we will pass all the questions, all your opinions to our speakers as your wish. So let me know your feedback. Now, let me welcome our next presenters. Our second speaker is from our business partner, Creaform Inc. And we are very privileged to have with us Mr.Sushin Songjun, Regional Manager, to speak to us about 3D scanning, future of automotive QC. Let's welcome Mr. Sushin Songjun. You can turn on the microphone and camera. You have the floor now.
Minus 6, 5, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. And where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sushin, as a regional manager for Thailand and Vietnam. Now I'm talking about Creaform product. Yeah, Creaform product is originally from Canada, and we have a very special and have a more experience than 20 years for the 3D scanners. Yeah, and we can connect our system into industrial force format and working very fine. Yeah, and we focus on to making more profits for our customer by reducing the time. Now, Creaform is spread into throughout the world. Yeah, we have 16 office in 12 country and including Thailand now. Now we have more than 10,000 customer around the world. Most of our our client or customer is from aerospace, automotive, and also consumer product, as you can see on the screen now. Yeah. For more understanding about Creaform company, this is a short video to you guys.
World of industrial design and 3D manufacturing, precision is of the utmost importance. Creaform specializes in dimensional measurement solutions, including the development and manufacturing of market-leading 3D scanners, automated 3D scanning cells, portable coordinated machines, and associated modeling and inspection software.
These are 3D laser scanners that acquire up to 1.8 million measurements per second and can take on some of the most difficult measurement challenges in the industry, whether that be measuring shiny black components, measuring chrome finishes, measuring composite materials. These are all things that place very high demands on optical non-contact measurement techniques. And while the customers want to leverage these tools right on the shop floor, there are very few suppliers that can actually deliver this accuracy which they demand in the lab but want to realize on the floor. Creaform provides these capabilities, including vibrational immunity and also a very minimal learning curve to the customer, where perhaps a union automotive worker or an inspection technician can quickly acquire the skill set needed to operate the Creaform equipment.
Since its inception in 2002, Creaform has grown to include a global team of more than 600 passionate employees. With the 2013 acquisition by Amitec, a leading global manufacturer of electronic instruments and electromechanical devices that does approximately $5 billion in annual sales itself, Creaform continues to diversify its capabilities, creating cutting-edge solutions and offering customers more options for functionality and profitability than ever before.
All right. As you can see in the video recently, our technology is focusing on the 3D scanner. So you can see on the screen now, we have a bunch of scanner type, from the handheld scanner to the big scanning, and also in the wireless probing system. Yeah. All right. Next product for today I'd like to present to you is the Core Handy Scan Black. This one is the one that suitable for the small to medium size. Is with a measurement of 1,300,000 measurement per second with a 22 blue laser light. We also got the accuracy of 25 micron and ISO 17025. And next one is the video for this model. For the outstanding feature for the Handy Scan Black, is the first one is you can scan with a high resolution. You can get all the small detail from the part. And also this one you can use this scanner into the floor and also in the control area in a QC room, something like that. And the last one for this is you can scan, apply this scanner to scan in every hard surface to scan. For example, is the chrome material with no need to prepare the surface before scanning. The next one is called Metricscan Black. This one is for the big part. This can use to scan the whole car body. Yeah, with the speed of the scanning of 1,800,000 measurements per second with 32 laser line. This one also have 25 micron and certified with ISO 17025. And here is the video for this. All right. For the Metricscan Black, the strong point for this model is that you can extend the volume to the bigger area with no need to realignment or recalibration the system again. You can move the cameras around with no need to set up from the beginning again. The second one, and this one we can use the scanner or the system in every area with no issue about the vibration. And also this one is the same that you can scan on the hard surface on the shiny surface like chrome or black shiny surface with no issue. Yeah, for the next model is the Additive probe next system. This one is a wireless system that can be probed on the point of the part. Yep. This one also have the 25 micron of accuracy and ISO 17025. This is a short video. For the handy probe, as you can see in the video, this one also used the same volume as Metricscan that can extend the inspection volume for the other side of the part. And this one is also used in the vibration area, for example, in the floor, which have a lot of machine. And this one is the probe. This is a wireless system. You can use in wherever you want, like a remote control. And for the next model, we can talk about the Go Scan Spot. This model can be used to scan the color and the pattern on the surface. And this one the 50 micron. The next is the video for this. Yeah, for Gaussian spot, the additional feature for this model is this one also the same extendable inspection volume also for the big part. And this one no need to set up on a legit setting. And this one you can use for to scan the color or even the texture from the part. This is the additional feature from the previous model. Yeah, and we also have the system to be used in the automated quality control system also, which is used to integrate it with the robot arm, and also the cell inspection like this model is called Cube R. the product from Creaform. As you can see, we can apply our system, our scanning system into many parts or many area of the industry, from the concept design to the design prototype, and also inspection in the manufacturing process. And also after selling, we can use the system for the after sale support. For example, is the reverse engineering and repair. Yeah. And we'll put our scanner into mainly to quality control and reverse engineering. Yes, it will be great for me presenting you for Creaform product here. If you have any question, you can contact with me to this detail. All right. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, thank you.
All right, dear delegates, I have to say, I believe you have the same feeling with me. Those videos are amazing, right? So let's welcome Mr.Sushin Songjun, and also I just got informed his colleague gonna join our live Q&A together. So let's welcome Mr.Sushin Songjun and also Mr. Yongyot Utah.
Hello.
Right. Hello.
Yeah.
Before we go to the Q&A mode, because it's the first time delegates see Yongyot, right? Maybe Yongyot, you can introduce yourself, or Sushin, you can introduce your colleague to us.
All right. I will let Kun Yongyot to introduce himself. He's a Creaform engineer. Yeah, Kun Yongyot.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yongyot. I'm application engineer to support around in Thailand and Vietnam. Nice to meet you, guys.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yes. Let's go to the Q&A mode together and cope with some questions. So, can you publish the questions, Sushin, or you would like me to do it for you?
Okay, I will pick it myself. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, one of these is start this one first. Is all right. How big are the parts our scanner can use? I can say is no limit on our scanner, because it can increase the volume all the way. Yeah, the part is inside of the volume can be scanned. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. The next one is
in the video you scan very big part of the aerospace part, the aeroplane part, right?
Yeah, right. No problem with the size of the part. We can scan. Yeah.
And Yongyot, would you like to add something too on it?
No, it's very clear. Kunushin is
Okay,
it's very
wonderful.
good. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay. Next one. This one asking about the clear lens and the mirror face. I can tell at the moment still no technology that capable of scanning that clear glass. Yeah. But for the not the glass itself, it's just the plastic clear. We can scan that, but not 100%. It's about 70 or 80%. Yeah, but it can be used anyway. Yeah, for that data.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
I hope it's clear for.
I hope that is clear for your answering. I believe that's from Ferris. Yeah, that's from Ferris. Okay, next one.
Okay, next one is about this one. It's asking about the software that we can work with. I can also say that we compatible with all the third-party inspection software in the market at the moment. Yeah, no problem. We have certificate and guarantee, and also the company plug in to work with together. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can go to the next one. But do you want to add anything, Yongyut? I can see you still don't answer any questions yet.
Yeah,
However,
yeah,
you
it's
can. We have many Thai delegates today. Maybe you could use Thai language to answer some of those parts. Only highlights to those Thai delegates too.
it's no problem. Yeah.
Okay, Songjun, please
Yeah.
proceed.
All right. I think this is the last question from the seminar here.
Yeah,
Is,
so far we get delegates. If you have more questions, good to go now, or we can go to the next one.
Okay. This is how long does it take for the annual calibration? This question is a very good question. Many of my customers asking this. For the Creaform system, we need to wait because we got a swappable artifact that you can use the system until the new one come and replace it with no time. Yeah. I hope it's clear for everyone. Yeah.
I hope that's clear. Before we go, I would like to ask one question to both Mr. Mr. Sushin Songjun and Ms. Yongyun Otar. Do we have anything you want to add on at last, or some highlights or conclusion you would like to remind our delegates before they go?
All right. I would say for Creaform product, we focus on how flexible and easy to use for the customer, which they can use all the area, including the vibration area or shop floor environment, with no problem about the accuracy anymore, compared to the own technology that we can help the customer on this. And also for the hard surface to be scanned, we don't need the customer don't need to prepare the surface anymore. We can right away to scan that with no issue. Yeah.
That's
and
wonderful.
also, if the customer are interested in our system or integrate our Creaform technology, the customer can contact us and we can right away to show on the real world with our demo system. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And before we hear anything from Yongyut, you want me to call you Yot, right? So Sushin, we have one more question coming in the Q&A mode. You can take a look now. And while in the meantime, let's hear from Mr. Yongyut.
All right. I will publish this one.
Yeah, it's a long
All
one.
right.
Yeah,
I take some time to read it. Yeah. Time machine casting. It's also the same question that I got from my existing customer. Normally, it's take because we're not using the mechanical system inside. We're using the software and the light system. For example, it's laser and something like the infrared system. So it take a really long time to break. Let's say normally my expert said it take about 20 years for the laser source. Yeah. So but in every year of using, if the customer don't sure about the accuracy or the optimal status of the system, then they can get the log file and send that file to be checked in our factory, and the customer gonna get the answer right away if the system is good or not. Yeah, this is what we doing now.
Okay, I hope that answered your question. You smart, right? Mr. or Miss You smart. Thank you. So, I'm very happy that we watched a very great presentation with many how to say that, very amazing videos. I have to say,
Thank
with
you.
all the videos, that's very insightful. I believe all the delegates not only visiting their booths, but you can also watch a playback video right after today's presentation. So watch many times and also contact our experts from Creaform, right? I believe those managers and the booth manager and our experts are very happy to arrange a meeting for you or to solve your further discussion or questions too. Today is very happy, Mr. Mr. Sushin Songjun and Mr. Yongyun Altar. Very happy to have you here at our Inga platform. See you next time.
Okay, see you. Thank you.
See you next time.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. สวัสดีครับ
Yes, sawadika, sawadika. And also on the platform, Miss Yu Yon John. It's very happy to have you here too. Let me continue with our session. All right, that's very informative, I have to say. And as I mentioned, I really like those videos. So during the networking time session later, I will play some of other kind of videos different than we saw a while ago. So looking forward to the networking time. But before that, let's welcome the next speaker from LMC Automotive. We have Mr. Titikorn Lertsirirungsun. Sorry, let me try it again. Mr. Titikorn Lertsirirungsun, Asian Manager, as he presents Thailand Automotive Outlook. Let's welcome Mr. Titikorn. You have the floor now. And dear delegates, also we will have live Q&A. So stay tuned, prepare your questions, listen very carefully.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Titikorn from LMC Automotive. Today, I would like to share our Thailand Automotive Outlook. Let me introduce our company. LMC Automotive head office is at the Oxford, UK, and the Bangkok office is the Asia Pacific Regional Office. What we do, we are the automotive forecasting house. We do a sales and production forecast. Also, we have a team to forecast the EV trend. And the number in my slide presentation will cover only the light vehicle GVW less than 6 tons. And my slide presentation will not cover the heavy and medium commercial vehicle or GVW more than 6 tons because we use a different methodology and have another team to do the forecast of medium and heavy commercial vehicle. Let's talk about the textile industry first. The textile industry export accounted for 11% of Thai export value in 1995, and last year is lower to only 2% of total Thai export value in 2021. The textile is still one of the important sector, but getting smaller in terms of the export value. In contrast, the export of automotive industry increased from 2% of total Thai export value in 1995 to 15% last year. So the reason behind of the growth of Thai automotive export was driven by the government policy. Here is the Thailand Board of Investment presentation. I borrow from them. As you can see below, in 1960, the Thai government promote automotive industry by using the import substitution policy. So it means that produce locally instead of the import. And then the Thai government chose the pickup truck as the product champion. And the pickup truck became the key product, both Thai domestic sales and export. In 2007, the government announced the Eco Car program. This policy is the export-oriented policy, as the policy aims to boost the export volume. The key requirement of the Eco Car program is the minimum production requirement at 100,000 units a year. So it means that the car maker who join this program must produce at least 100,000 units a year. So to achieve this minimum production requirement, the car maker have to export. They cannot rely on the domestic sale only. And then the government announced the EV policy in 2017 to strengthen the Thai automotive industry. As you know, right now the EV is a global trend. Before we go to the outlook, let's see the result of the Eco Car program. Could it boost the export volume? In this slide show you the structure of Thai export CBU. As you can see here, the blue one is the export volume of the pickup truck, and the gray color is the export of the passenger vehicle. As you know, the Thai export volume were around 1 million units a year. You can see that in 2010 and 2021, the export volume of the pickup trucks were at 600,000 units a year. So it means that no growth in past 10 years. But the growth of the Thai export volume is came from the export of the passenger vehicle, or it can say that the export volume from the Eco Car program. So in this slide, it implies that the government policy is the key factor to shape Thai automotive industry. So that's all about the history. So next we will discuss about the outlook. Starting from sales, as you know that the COVID has impacted Thai economy and light vehicle market. Sales declined by 5% last year. In this year, we forecast that sales will increase to 840,000 units. The economy and sales should be supported by the reopened country for the foreign tourists. The tourism sector is a key sector of Thai economy, and the tourism sector is the labor-intensive industry. The other positive factor is the government announced the cash subsidy to buy the BEV amount 150,000 baht, and also the government just cut the tax for the BEV. For example, the Aura Good Cat BEV, the top spec price dropped from 1.2 million baht last year to only 960,000 baht, and the lowest spec of the Aura Good Cat now price is only 763,000 baht. However, the condition of the cash subsidy is only for the car maker who signed the MOU with the Thai government to produce the BEV in Thailand in 2024 or 2025. Now there are Great Wall Motor, MG, Toyota, and Neta that signed the cash subsidy program. For the negative factor this year, of course, come from the supply issue. The China zero COVID policy, so it means that no Chinese tourists to enter to Thailand market. Also, the Ukraine-Russia conflict, the high household debt. Now, Thailand household debt was 90% of GDP in the last quarter. Also, high inflation will impact on the consumer purchasing power, and the Central Bank of Thailand is expected to increase the interest rate in the second half this year. With the high household debt, high inflation, and increasing of the interest rate, it will impact on consumer purchasing power and auto loan approval. We forecast that Thai sales will back to 1 million units a year or the pre-pandemic level in 2025, because supported by the recovery of tourism sector, the replacement demand, and the pull ahead effect. Let's talk about the replacement demand. You can see that in 2012-2013, the Thai market was inflated by the first car buyer scheme, and then the market slowed down. Then the market hit 1 million units in 2018 and 2019 because of the replacement demand from the first car buyer scheme. We expect that the replacement demand of this volume will be occur around 2025. There have some survey that the Thai people will change the car every 5 years. So it should be around 2025. Also, the government pre-announced the new excise tax. The new excise tax will implement in 2026. In general, it will increase the price of the ICE or the conventional powertrain. So it means that we expect some pull ahead demand from 2026 to 2025. So that is a factor for the sales. So Before we go into the production outlook, I would like to share the Bank of Thailand report, the inflation. Now, the inflation, there are two types of inflation, the cost push and demand pull. Right now, Thailand economy and global economy face the cost push inflation due to the higher of the raw material, in particular the energy price. The Bank of Thailand predicts the inflation will peak in the third quarter this year and start to decline in the last quarter this year. If we look into the detail, we can say that this assumption is based on the lower price of the energy in the last quarter this year. So we should eye or monitor the energy price, because if the energy price is still continue increasing, we will face the peak. The inflation maybe get the peak in the first quarter next year. So this is a key factor that we have to monitor. Let's move to the Thai production outlook. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the Thai sales dropped by 5% last year, but the output increased by 17% last year, which driven by the export volume. For this year, we expect that the output will continue to increase to 1.8 million units, driven by the launching of new key models, in particular the export model. For example, the new generation Ford pickup truck, and also the Toyota will launch the new generation of the top-selling subcompact car in the third quarter this year. So this will boost the volume this year. Also, we learned that the car maker have the large backlog order, and some model, if you book today, you have to wait at least 6 months due to the part shortage. So it's likely depend on the how car maker to find the solution of the part shortage to produce and deliver the car to the buyer. For example, some brand right now normally they will provide 2 remote keys to the consumer or buyer on the delivery date, but now they give only 1 remote key and promise to deliver the other key later due to they face the part shortage of the remote key. We expect that the Thai production volume will reach 2 million units in 2024 due to the economic recovery, and as I mentioned before, the BEV production volume would start around 2024-2025. Right now, the MG Thailand confirmed that they will start production the BEV in 2024 after they enjoy the cash subsidy program. For the negative factor, of course, this year we face the chip shortage, the weak global economy impact on the Thai export. But I would like to talk about this factor about the non-Japanese brand expansion in the region. Normally, when people talk about the non-Japanese brand, they will think about Chinese brand, but no, I would like to focus on the Korean brand. As you know that Thailand is the production base of the Japanese brand. We do not have the Korean brand production in Thailand. But the expansion of the non-Japanese brand will impact on Japanese sales in the region, which impact on Thai production and export. For example, why I have to talk about the Korean brand. For example, last year in Vietnam, the Hyundai overtook Toyota to be the top-selling brand in country. In this year, the first 4 months, Hyundai faced the part shortage and faced the supply issue. So the Hyundai dropped to third place, but the top-selling brand in Vietnam in the first 4 months this year is Kia. So the reason behind the strong sale of Korean brand in Vietnam because of the new investment to produce the car locally. So as you know now, the Hyundai new plant in Indonesia started operation this year. They produce the Creta and export to Thailand. And we expect that they will launch the new MPV in this year and also export to Thailand. So it will impact the Japanese sales and share in ASEAN market. Also, Kia appoint Burmas as the new partnership in Malaysia. Burmas, who is the Burmas? Burmas is the Mazda partner in Malaysia, and Burmas produce and export CX-8 and CX-5 to Thailand and to other countries in the region. So it means that Burmas have an experience of export among the ASEAN region. Also, as we can see in here, the plan of the Kia Malaysia. Kia set Malaysia as the production base in the ASEAN. So, and also we expect that the Hyundai and Kia will expand the market share or increase the market share in ASEAN quicker than the Chinese brand. Why? Because they have the global footprint, they have a technology, and also they have the network in all ASEAN countries. This will impact on Japanese and Thai production output, in particular the export. Okay, this slide will show you the structure of Thai production. The blue color represents the export volume and the gray color represents the production for the domestic. Normally when you produce the vehicle, you produce for the domestic sale and produce for the export. Let's see here. After the Eco Car start production in 2011, you can see that the export volume strongly jumped to 1 million units in 2012. And then after 2014, the export volume were higher than the production for the domestic sale. So it means that Thai automotive production rely on export rather than domestic sale. With the EV in the global trend, this forced Thai government to announce and promote the EV for Thai automotive industry. However, if we look into the detail, there is some difference between the Eco Car program and the EV program. The key condition of the Eco Car program is the minimum production requirement because they want to boost the export. But for the EV policy, the key requirement is to invest the key component of EV to strengthen and establish the ecosystem of EV. So it means that we want to build, the Thai government want to build, and still the Thai automotive industry still have a place or position in the BEV supply chain. So this is the difference between the Eco Car and EV policy. And as you know, the EV is a global trend. All countries in the ASEAN want to be the EV hub. Thailand want to be EV hub. Indonesia and Malaysia also want to be the EV hub. So let's see the market size of the XEV in ASEAN. XEV including hybrid, the plug-in hybrid, and BEV. Thailand was the largest XEV market in 2021, and Indonesia was the smallest market because all XEV models in Indonesia were imported CBU. For the 2030, we still expect that Thailand will remain the largest XEV market, and Indonesia will be the second largest in the region. And you can say that high growth rate in Indonesia because Indonesia will start production XEV or hybrid and BEV this year, starting from Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Suzuki Ertiga hybrid. And also you can see that the hybrid will remain the majority of XEV in the region because we was dominated by the Japanese brand. So here are the strength and the weak point of XEV by country. Thailand have the strong supply chain. We have a solid automotive policy, both demand and supply side. You may know that Thailand government, we change government a lot, but the automotive policy are very smooth. We never change the automotive policy. It have a step by step from import substitution to export oriented and XEV. But of course, Thailand lack of the raw material, and we have a low passenger vehicle sales ratio because half of the Thai market is a pickup truck and the half is a passenger vehicle. So the PV sale is very low compared to Indonesia and Malaysia. Indonesia, the positive factor are of course, they are source of the raw material, largest population in ASEAN, and the incentive policy. But Indonesia market is known as the price sensitive and the low GDP per capita. So it have a question about the affordability to buy the BEV for the Indonesia. Oh, sorry. Malaysia has a high GDP per capita, have a flexible incentive policy, but the Malaysian no cash subsidy and still lack of emission standard. And also the Malaysia market was dominated by the national brand. So in conclude, each country have their own strength and their own weak for the EV. Also, each country have a different market situation, condition, and also the consumer preference. So I think that the key issue to promote the XEV in this region is heavily rely on the government policy. So as you can see here, in Thailand, first they announced in the 2017, but only for the supply side. And this year, the government just announced the subsidy for the demand side. So I think that in our point of view, the government policy is the key to promote XEV in the region. So that's all my presentation.
I'm thinking of never listened enough. What do you think? Are you feeling the same with me? Let's welcome Mr. Titikorn and be our guest to our Q&A platform. Mr. Titikorn, let's go to the Q&A platform together.
Hi.
Oh, we finally can see your face now. Great. Okay, I like it. I like the background. It looks very high class. So let's go to the Q&A mode.
Yep.
We so far have 2 questions. So would you like me to publish for you?
I can do it by myself.
Thank you. And dear delegate, as I mentioned in the chat box, seize your chance. Leave more questions in the chat box. We still have some time to cover those questions. All right,
Okay.
this one.
So what do you think about the Tesla investment in ASEAN?
That's a good question. Yes.
I think that it's of course, I think when many people, when they think about the Tesla, it's good because it will like a stimulus or stimulate the BEV market in ASEAN, both demand and supply also. But as you know, right now they have some news that the Tesla will invest in Indonesia. But the question is about the affordability. If you look, as I remember, the sales volume of Mercedes-Benz and BMW in Indonesia were around 5,000 units a year, 5 or 6,000 units a year. But when you look at Thailand and Malaysia, the sales volume of Mercedes and BMW were around 20,000 units a year. So it means that if they have someone say that build or invest where you sell it. When you look at in the market size of Indonesia, it's quite small for the luxury brand, because the Tesla is not the mass brand. The price is not like Toyota or Honda or the mass brand. The price a bit higher and nearly like the luxury brand. So I think that is the key challenge of the Tesla to invest the plant in Indonesia. But if you look at for the market size, Malaysia and Thailand is more attractive because of the largest market for the luxury brand and affordability. But it's good if Tesla invest in Southeast Asia or ASEAN, because it means that they see some potential or opportunity for the BEV. Because many people will say maybe the BEV is not suitable for the ASEAN market right now. But if the Tesla or the leading company of the BEV eye on the ASEAN, so I think that it will stimulate the BEV in ASEAN. Yeah.
I hope that answered your question, Mr. and Miss Delegate. Next one.
Next one. PTT and Foxconn set to build plant, I think plant in Thailand, not plant, build plant in Thailand. Do you hear any development of that plant? Luckily, today, I think today or yesterday, the media report that the PTT and the Foxconn start build the plant and start build the plant in this year in the third quarter, and the plant will be start operation or start production in next 2 years. So it's up to 2024. And what I hear that they plan to have the capacity around 25,000 units a year. That's quite a big amount for the BEV.
And that's a very, very new latest information, the market trend. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mr. Titikorn. All right. So, yeah, okay. We don't have many more questions so far, but I have received two delegates saying that there's a great presentation. But anyway,
Thank you.
Before we go, please not only say great presentation, think of some questions for you to learn from our expert today too, Sean and also Jacqueline. Oh, by the way, Titikorn, before we end this presentation, do you have something to add on before you leave, or you can share some highlights of your presentation?
Okay, I think that the key, if you would like to follow to forecast or to follow the ASEAN Automotive, I think that, as I mentioned in my slide presentation, the government policy is the key factor to shape both demand and supply. Let's say I already mentioned about the eco car program in Thailand, but let's say in Indonesia, as you know that the Indonesia market the market size allow 1 million units a year, as same as Thailand. But if you look into the detail, the key or the majority sales around 22% were the LCGC car or LCGC model, which is the government policy. If we remove the LCGC model from the market, the Indonesia market will be only around 700,000 units a year. So I think that the government policy is the key to shape the automotive, both supply and demand. So we have to follow and see the government policy, in particular the BEV. Yeah. So that's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mr. Titikorn, for sharing with us the highlights of Thailand's automotive industry. And welcome back to the Ringer platform.
Thank you very much.
Once again, and the future events as well. I'm looking forward to hear your presentation again. See you. Thank you for today's presentation. Sawadee. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, dear attendees. As I mentioned, you can keep asking questions, leave your comments in the chat box even after the session or after today's whole conference. This platform will be still open for you. Next, let's welcome the networking session. All right. I know in the first half of our presentation, there are a lot of insights and very interesting topics you would like to think about. This is a great chance. Now we have a networking time. You can enjoy our video playing by our business sponsor, business partner, Creaform, and also seize the chance, use the left-hand side, the networking button and the boost function button to have networking with all the delegates and also speakers too. You can also stay here in the chat box and have the further discussion as well. Now, before we go, I have to say, let's turn to Creaform's video tour to learn more about there. You can see on the screen Go Scan 3D and Metricscan 3D. And also, we have GWN's booth too. I have to remind you, relying on the world's leading R&D equipment and systems, GWN is capable of designing and developing SUVs, passenger cars, and pickup series, as well as powertrains. Welcome to both their booths. After 5 minutes, we will be back on our second half of agenda. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys later.
T-minus 6, 5, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. And where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
First of all, it's super cool. This doesn't have to be part of it, but I think it's so cool. I love teaching people how to use the scanner and seeing the look on their face the first time they see the scan being created in the software while you're capturing it.
Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is a full-service provider of large metal parts using Lincoln's in-house additive technology. The fact that we are going to make very large parts, measuring feet and meters, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, we knew that a coordinate measurement machine was not going to cut it. So we looked at alternatives, and 3D scanning fit the bill.
We chose 3D scanning opposed to conventional measurement techniques because it allows us to get a full 3D surface model of what we just printed, and then we can take that and compare it back to the original CAD model.
A lot of times we have parts with unique features. We want to make sure those features are exactly where they need to be. So we need the 3D scans to encompass all of the complex features that we're printing and also make sure that we can verify all of those features are correct.
There are a number of benefits the Creaform Metricscan 3D provides to us. First of all, it is very fast, so we can measure our parts in a matter of minutes. Secondly, it allows us to take the measurement tool to the parts rather than the parts to the tool. Our parts are very heavy and large, so minimizing the movement of the parts is important to us.
What makes the Metricscan great is that it's a non-contact solution. We're able to scan our parts and verify dimensional quality anytime during the manufacturing process, even mid-print when the part is still too hot to touch.
The Metricscan helps our business because we can have confidence that every part that goes out the door is according to customer specifications. Also, it helps us in speed to market because it is such a fast way of measuring parts. Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is growing, and as we expand, Creaform's Metricscan will continue to be an integral part of our manufacturing process.
minus 6, 5, 4, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. And where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
First of all, it's super cool. This doesn't have to be part of it, but I think it's so cool. I love teaching people how to use the scanner and seeing the look on their face the first time they see the scan being created in the software while you're capturing it.
Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is a full-service provider of large metal parts using Lincoln's in-house additive technology. The fact that we are
Welcome back. This is Jack, and welcome back to Ringer Events platform. This platform is really special. We have a lobby, we have a conference page, where you can feel free to have the discussion and raise questions, and we will cover those questions in our live Q&A session. And also, we have some special functions like networking and the booth page. It's very, very special platform, I have to say. So I hope you enjoy. Now, let's go to our second half of our agenda presentation. Our next presenter is Mr. Sherwin C. Nones. Some of you might have heard of Mr. Nones' presentation on supply chain disruption in the electronics industry during our Asian Electronics and Semiconductor Manufacturing Summit in March. We're glad to have him again. And this time, he will talking about the role of sustainability in automotive manufacturing. So, welcome back, Mr. Nones. You may begin your presentation.
Good day to everyone. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to join the Asian Smart Manufacturing Summit in automotive. I'm Sherwin Nones. I am the current head of strategy for integrated microelectronics. We are an electronics manufacturing services company headquartered in the Philippines with 22 factories in more than 10 countries. We're a global company, and one of the things that we are involved in is in the automotive industry. So I'm going to talk about the rising role of sustainability in automotive manufacturing. So let me start by sharing my slides. So let me start off by showing to you the mobility net zero roadmap for 2050 on a global scale for mobility. So as you can see here on the left side, electric cars will eventually become the majority of vehicles by around starting around 2030, 2040, and up to 2050. And this is in line with with the net zero roadmap of all automotive OEMs who have already projected their targets in 2030 and 2050. This is, of course, in alignment with the global goal towards reduction of carbon footprint. And to do this, all economic sectors and countries and companies that are involved have to be participative. There has to be a lot of structural changes that would accompany technological transitions, of course, from, let's say, from gas, from internal combustion engine to electric. Eventually, for electric cars, for mobility, the total cost of ownership of the vehicle would fall, and there would be a lot of opportunities for employment. Of course, even before that, there are risks and opportunities that companies like you and mine as well would have to assess. So, on that road towards reductions of carbon emissions, we need to be able to work together to understand how this is going to change the way we do business. The future of mobility is electric, and we cannot emphasize that so much anymore because that has been already been around, and we've been seeing that in the news. So, according to Bloomberg, the peak level of the internal combustion engine has happened already. That was in the year 2017, and looking at this chart, you would see that the internal combustion engine cars would start slowly going down in favor of the electric car. So by 2025, for example, the sales of internal combustion passenger vehicles would be 19% below their 2017 levels. So we could just imagine how much more this will take in the next couple of years with the advent of having lower cost of batteries. For two wheels, for example, I also want to emphasize this, that motorcycles in 2021 had unit sales of about 58.6 million globally, with the current CAGR of just about 2 or 3%. However, you have electric scooters and motorcycles that are starting to come up. In 2021, there were about 10 million of these that were sold globally. Still quite small compared to the overall market. But in 2028, this segment will boom and will become the majority, according to studies in motorcycle data, driving up the entire industry. So this is just about 5 years from now. And if you would look at the CAGR of electric scooters, they're around almost 30% per year growth per year. Now, I just want to make mention of some issues on electric vehicles. We talk about, of course, the lithium ion or the use of lithium ion, and there are some issues in terms of mining and cobalt and some of the minerals. Because of the high prices and because of the supply chain concerns associated with mining of these minerals, scientists and research people in R&D started to develop alternatives. This includes the lithium iron phosphate, or LFPs, which uses no cobalt or nickel. Currently, LFP batteries in lithium ion will account for 42% of all battery demand starting next year. That would be paving the way this is actually paving the way for market-induced substitution. So because of this, the demand for cobalt will eventually go down about half by 2030. And this will already help in answering the uncertainty issue of the EV supply chain in terms of batteries. and push the lithium-ion battery further, maybe farther away from where the fuel cell is. Now, just want to show this chart just to give you a flavor of how countries are coming up with their own EV roadmaps. And for Thailand, for example, they want to be able to have more EVs in the coming year, and by 2035, they want every new car sold to be electric. So that's the goal, and that's the window we're looking at from 2022 to 2035. So in between those years, there will be a lot of shifts, a lot of things that have to be considered. A lot of players need to be able to change the way they do business if they want to stay in the automotive sector. So how do you align with automotive net zero targets? So I talked about what's going to be the future of electric vehicles as opposed to internal combustion engines, internal combustion engine cars and vehicles. So then how do we align with these OEMs that have net zero targets already? First of all, for companies in the supply chain, whether you are a member of a supply chain in motorcycles or vehicles, you need to be able to make sure that you gather, track, and analyze your current data. And this is in compliance with all the OEMs that are already making sure that their suppliers are compliant or at least aligned to their net zero footprint. This is not something that we can choose. This would be something that is mandatory already and will continue to become a little bit more stringent in the coming years. So it is better for us to be able to do this right now than, be able to be surprised that we won't be able to supply anymore to our customers or to our partners because we cannot cope with their demands. So gathering, tracking, and analyzing your data is very important. First is Scope 1. And Scope 1 talks about the direct carbon emissions that you have in the company from your company-owned facilities or vehicles. Scope 2 involves purchased electricity or the use of energy from external sources. So you have to track that. And Scope 3 is a little bit more difficult because these are downstream activities where you involve your suppliers. So let's say you buy a certain component from your supplier and you have to track down the manufacturing of that component from where it was and make sure that you'll be able to convince or at least tell your suppliers to align with your protocols on declarations of carbon footprint. So these are very challenging. I don't think you'd be able to do this in just 1 year. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of training. But there's no better time to start than now if you haven't done this before, or if you're yet to do this, you might want to maybe work with a consultant or somebody who is an expert in doing this. This is a continuous activity, so once you're able to track Scope 1, you'll be able to do this year after year, and you will understand how you can reduce your carbon emissions and be transparent as well on your reporting. After you do this, after you set the baseline from the targets, from the data that you've gathered, you can now then set your targets for 2030 and 2050. So given the level of information that you have, or given the level of carbon emissions that you have from the data that you've gathered, how much would you be able to reduce? How much would you be able to target without sacrificing, the quality or the sustainability of your business? What kind of activities are you going to implement such that it will help you at least reduce your carbon footprint. For example, in electricity, would you be employing or establishing renewable energy sources? Would you put in solar panels? Would you use bikes in the compounds of your factory? Would you do car sharing for your employees and all that? So those are the things that, so those are activities that you can do to reduce your carbon footprint. You have to work with your customers, your partners, your suppliers, and even the local government. You need to also understand what is achievable. And although you're going to set your targets, realistic targets, but make sure that these are achievable as well, and also ambitious. So, and the last thing that's most important in doing this is make sure that you include these initiatives in your KPIs so that everybody in the organization will know and understand how to work together to achieve these targets. So again, these take time. I do not expect that a company would be able to do this all together in 1 year. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of training as well. Next is once you're able to develop your goals and come up with your roadmap, you need to be able to report these. Develop your own reporting and disclosure protocols. So this is up to your company and maybe up to your suppliers or your partners or your consultants. What is most important is you be consistent and you make sure that you comply with the requirements that are needed of you by your customers and by third-party audit organizations. So some of these organizations that you need to partner with will audit you, and you need to either be certified or you need to get a certificate so that you'll be able to comply with some protocols so that you can continue doing your business. So this is just a snapshot of the landscape. So these are all companies and consultants and some reporting protocols that you can look at over time. Now, as I mentioned, apart from working with consultants and doing reporting, you need to be able to look at the wider scope of things and not just carbon emissions, but also the social, the human rights, and the climate risks. This is included in the greater scope of ESG. ESG is, of course, environment, social, and governance. In fact, in Europe, they just came out with this press release requiring the auditing of sustainability reporting by non-European companies that do business in Europe. So under this new system, companies will have to be required to report on issues ranging from environmental rights, social rights, to human rights, climate risks, and governance factors. And these have to be audited and these have to be certified as a requirement in the EU for companies that are not necessarily members of the EU, but are doing business in the EU. So I think they will be able to start to implement this by next year. Of course, all this contributes in you making sure that you develop your own net zero roadmap. Start small, but aim high. You don't have to do all these things together. You can come up with a timeline. Let's say this year we'll come up with reporting, and next year we'll come up with our goals. Work on what you have right now, and then over time you can develop your ESG projects and activities that will reduce the carbon footprint, but also, most importantly, create monetary value for the company in the medium to long term. So that's most important. The goal is not really just to to reduce, but to be able to generate value over time. So in our company, Integrated Microelectronics, we, like I said, we have 22 factories in more than 10 countries. We do declare not just on our financials, on our reports, on our integrated report, but we also declare our sustainability impact on scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. We make sure that the recycled materials that we use are reported, how much goes to the landfill or to the recycling plants, how much toxic substances that we take care, and then we make sure that it doesn't affect the environment, and all these things that affect not just our company, our stakeholders, our suppliers, the environment, the government, all that in all of our sites globally. So that's just a short lecture on ESG and sustainability in automotive manufacturing. These are just very basic, but I would invite you to be able to look at these more carefully in great detail and work with your partners and consultants in figuring out the best way for you to move forward. I know this is going to be workable for all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sherwin C. Nonas. Let me speak a little bit before we go to our live Q&A platform. Thank you for educating us about sustainability in automotive manufacturing. And in the meantime, you can see, delegates, in the chat box, there are plenty of the questions has been raised already. And what about your own question? So let's welcome Mr. Sherwin C. Nonas again, and welcome back to our Q&A platform. Let's deal with some questions mentioned during your presentation.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so there. What automotive OEMs are requiring alignment to their ESG objectives? Well, today, most, if not all, of automotive car manufacturers are targeting a net zero carbon emission level by 2050. So, and in turn, almost all major tier one suppliers in automotive, to support that, are now requiring many of their suppliers to do the same thing. Specifically, on the midterm, some of them are targeting a 50% reduction in carbon emission by 2030. Now, I know there's a lot of things to consider here, but just to put it straight, you cannot be a preferred supplier anymore if you do not have a plan or if you do not have a roadmap towards net zero. So that's pretty simple. They're a little bit, it's not it's not very, it's not a hard rule yet. It's not um, a major requirement yet, but it's going there. So right now we have partners and suppliers asking us already, are you aligned with our plan to have a net zero target? So if you do, then what is your plan? What is your roadmap? So eventually, in maybe a year or two, they would make sure that only those who have this kind of plan will be a preferred supplier.
It's happening, right? A year or two is very short time, however, right? Okay,
Yes.
so dear delegates, focus on this big trend. Okay, let's move to the next one.
So how do you create value in reducing carbon emissions? Isn't this expensive? Um, yes, there are activities that you can do which might be expensive,
And there are activities that you do that might only require a change in behavior. For example, if you have a very simple suggestion, if you have a large canteen in your factory and everybody eats there, if the company decides that, you know what, every Friday we will all be vegetarians, that's already a carbon reduction, and you just have to measure it.
Okay.
So, and it did not require any expense for the company, but it is able to, if you will log down all the details, then you would be able to include that in your carbon reduction. Um, but then, of course, you might ask, how can we reduce carbon emissions while increasing your business? It sounds impossible. You cannot reduce electricity while saying that you want to grow, because, of course, if factories need a lot of electricity. But of course, there are reduction management things that you can do on reduction of energy. You can use renewable energy. You can use maybe a car sharing program. You can use electric buses to bring employees to work. So a lot of things, small activities that you can do, so that if you add them up over time, maybe you'd be able to reduce a significant amount of carbon reductions. And that should be included in your plan. Okay, so maybe biking or walking, if you have a big factory or a big compound, much maybe better than, riding a scooter or a motorcycle. So these are things that we can consider.
Of course. The same routine, the same thing we have to do, just think about some alternative ways, approaches to do it, right? Okay,
Yep.
that's wonderful. The next one, please.
What kind of activities? Oh, I already told you about this. Activities can you have to reduce or offset carbon emissions? If I may add to that, maybe uh, all these actually have some monetary value. Okay, so it's not just a point of reducing your carbon emissions. So every time you reduce carbon emissions, these have monetary value, and these have savings. And you can get those monetary value of savings and add them up to your savings in the company, which can equate to having value. So that is very important. For example, when you move some of your ICT activities, your email, your storage to the cloud, you can actually reduce carbon emissions by 5 or 10%. If you are going to send an email and you are just going to say yes, maybe don't send it anymore, because you will just add to your carbon emissions. So maybe you can have an agreement, something like that. And when you're able to do this, and you are able to do this well, you will gain more business, because eventually a lot of companies in the automotive industry will look for companies that do this well. And when you are able to do this well, then that could be some kind of a marketing proposition for you to gain more business, and that's value for your company. Even probably later on, you might be so good at it that you might be able to have additional products and services that would have value to your customers that you can do in relation to carbon emission activities.
Okay, so if we have no more questions coming, the next one will be our last question.
Yeah. So, what is the impact of not having an ESG or sustainability roadmap or objective? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, but if, for example, if you're looking at surviving, making sure that your company survives in the next 10 or 15 years, you need to be able to start making this transition already. So, whether you are a producer of an automotive part that is in EV, or in your standard vehicle, or producing electronics, or producing any part in the car, or the car itself, motorcycles or scooters, then you have to consider all of this right now, because this is up and coming. You don't want to find yourself in a position when you might lose the business, because this is already a requirement. So this early, you have a lot of time to prepare, and I'm sure things will go well for all of us if we do.
I think the goal is quite clear, but however, it's not right now we have to do it, but it's happening. And the second thing is that I would like to, I wonder, based on your observation or your opinion, is there a big difference between some medium or larger companies, and for those smaller companies, they took different aspect or objective to this goal, to this
Yeah,
sustainability goal? Yeah.
I understand, because some might say, we're just a small company, and we I don't think this will affect us. Maybe yes, maybe in the next how many years, yes, but eventually, as suppliers change, because more supply base, the supply base of the current internal combustion engine would need to transfer towards EV. And so if they're going to transfer, and then you're going to go to the market, and let's say the market will now require certifications, uh, then you might be at a loss. So this is just to make sure that we will survive in the market. You know that there's a lot of disruption in the supply chain right now, and that's going to be part of it. Once this is able to be resolved on its own, then the transition towards EV, not just on the car but on the supply side, will be huge, and this will require a change in all of the suppliers, whether big or small.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your opinions and very insightful presentation. So before we go, as usual, I will ask you, do you have anything to add on, or some conclusion to sum up your presentation today to delegates?
Yep, just want to say that sustainability and ESG is up and coming. I just even received an email today. One of our large customers is a huge tier one company, and they are already saying that this is where we want to go. They have already clear cut goals towards 2030. Now, if we're not gonna act now, then maybe we don't want to survive. But if we're going to work together, share our best practices, and especially in Southeast Asia, because we think that will be we are not affected, but in fact, uh, we will be affected. Not as quick as Europe or the US, but eventually we will, because all these supply chains are connected. We cannot create our own in a bubble. So uh, if you need any help, if you need any assistance, there are a lot of experts around, me included. You can send me an email, you can contact me, and we can, discuss on how we can do this.
Of course, thank you very much, Mr. Sherwin Nones. And dear delegates, let's give a big applause, in the chat room now for Mr. Sherwin Nones, and also leave the comments to the feedback that Sherwin Nones just gave us. And thank you, Mr. Sherwin Nones. I'm looking forward to see you once again at our Ringer platform in the future.
Thank
See you
you.
next time. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, dear delegates, as my assistant, my helper, and I also share these opinions all the time. Please use the feedback form function well. If you want to leave a comment, leave your own opinion, or any idea you want to improve at our Ringo platform or our events in the future. Tell us. We can make adjustment for you. We can think about the topics, the ways we make the conference, or anything you mentioned. We can have discussion on that too. We want to make a better conference service for you next time. Now, let's welcome our next speaker. Last but not least, our next speaker. Currently, Thailand is witnessing a shift from manual assistance to automation. Our last speaker, Mr. Sakda Sarapatwittaya, Vice President of Thai Automation and Robotics Association, is here today to speak about Thailand's automation industry tax policy. Sounds very, very important. So let's welcome Mr. Sakda.
Good to see you all. Today we will have a session in order to talk about for the smart manufacturing and also good to know about for the automation tech policy. Actually, today we would like to mention about for the Thai Automation and Robot Association, and we call the short name called TARA. Okay. Part of the presentation today that we would like to talk about Tara business type and membership, even for the technical skill, and who is our member. Then we will talk about for the Tara member combined registration and staff. Then we will talk for the what our objective. And the fifth one that we talk about for the technical capability and also for target industrial. In order to talk about more for the Thailand 4.0 concept with 10 S curve and important that is the automation, transformation, and tax policy with the smart manufacturing. And also on the last slide, we will talk about for the industrial use case that you can get to know simple case that how can you apply the system to your factory and manufacturing. Okay, let's go this. TARA for the Thai Automation and Robot Association. We are the consist of the Thai companies and invited professional and who specialize in automation and robotic system. Here you can see for the left hand side with the TARA business Thai and also TARA membership skill set for the technical. The left hand side you can see around 30% of system indicator for the blue pie and also around 20% for the seller with the orange pie and designer around 18%, machine maker 17%, also software developer 11%, and the rest around 3%. If you go for the right hand side, you can see a part of the skill with system integration, industrial robot 18%, machine maker and control 15%, visual image processing 14%, software IIoT ERP 14%, warehouse AGV 11%, and drone around 2%, and the rest is 4%. This is our membership technical skill. For this slide, we will show you TARA members combined registered capital and TARA members combined staff. For the registered capital for the entire since 2000 last year, around 2,500 million Thai baht for the registered capital, and we have TARA member around 5,500 staff on this. Okay, what is our objective? We would like to clear for 3 objectives. First, being a center of automation and robotic for buyers, sellers, and business collaboration among member and professional in the all related field. Second objective, to create collaboration and cooperation among members, public, private, and government for business develop collaboration. The third one for the objective is to promote technology development, include the research, innovation. Also, we set up seminar, training, and consulting for further to adoption of automation and robotics. This is our main three objectives. Okay, this is the technical capability that can show you for the design, capability to develop, and also to make the integration, even manufacturing for this. You can see, as I mentioned, about some software, IoT, ERP, MES, SCADA, include industrial IoT and AI. Also part of the capability of system integration and capability of the machinery control sensor and vision together with some robot, and also for the warehouse, AGV, RGV, ASRS, and also drone. This is the capability that Tara member can do it on this case. Okay, we have the targeted industry among for the aerospace, agriculture, automotive, electronics, data storage, food, infrastructure, manufacturing, material handling, logistics, medical, healthcare, oil and gas, packaging, precision part, semiconductor, and service. Okay, you can see for the Thailand 4.0 concept that right now we have the Thailand engine growth model that we like to go for the high value-added economy and prosperity. For this, that we will have the robotic and automation in order to make the innovation driven economy for this. Here you can see for 10S curve that is the targeted industrial for Thailand 4.0. We have two S curve. We call the first S curve, and the secondly we call new S curve. The first S curve is the next generation automotive, also smart electronic and medical, wellness, tourism included for the first S curve of agriculture and biotechnology together with food for future. Secondly is the new S curve for the robotic, aviation, logistic, biofuel, digital, and medical hub. You can see that even robotic is the new S curve, but if you go in the detail of the Thai 10 S curve industry of Thailand, robotic include the automation. They are embedded, even engaged for all S curve for this. Okay, before we go further slide, I would like to get and bring you all to have a thinking about for the design transformation to be the automation ecosystem on this. That we have four subject to discuss. First, we have to start before we make the design transformation with the blueprint that can create blueprint of the manufacturing, blueprint of the system, included for the machine design, and also some part of the improved production line for as a turnkey solution. And second one, we would like to talk about for the roadmap. We have to plan for the roadmap with the factory development strategy and make with the modular design for the roadmap that we can plug in and unplug, that which model roadmap can do further and can earn much more for your factory improvement and productivity. The third one is the pain point. This is the first point, even for the first touch, that we can go in deep for the solution and solve for the production problem to suit for the factory with the business. And important one is the open technology, that this will go together with your team and technical team to make the open technology for transfer complete body with the knowledge and the sustainable technology. Okay, talk about for the automation transformation and for your smart factory. This one will go through for the first of cost optimization and for productivity value added. On this, before we go for the automation transformation with the smart manufacturing, we have to go for the manage with the tools and manpower. The first we can further with the lean manufacturing 4.0 and with smart manufacturing Kaizen level also. And not only for tools, we also have the system analyst that we have to be trained and certified by TGI, that is stand for Thai German Institution in Thailand. This will show you for before we go for the smart manufacturing, we have to talk about for the management tools and technology. Left hand side you can see start from before we go to industrial 4.0, we have to start with cellular manufacturing set up for the reduction, and even for the quality control we have the TQM, production smooth Kambang WIP reduction, supplier development, uh, Jidoka CIM go for industrial 4.0. And the right hand side you can show that is matching with pattern recognition, auto ID technology, augmented reality, data analysis and analytics, and also adaptive robotics, sensor, 3D printer, and IoT with the M2M, machine-to-machine communication. And then for the right-hand side, you can see with the lean industrial for the flexibility, productivity, speed, quality, and safety. And this slide will show you for the smart manufacturing Kaizen level, that if you can see for the horizontal Kaizen area with the level of the installation worker, uh, workshop level 2, level 3 factory, and level 4 supply chain. And also you can see for the vertical wise that talk about Kaizen level with the start from collecting, level B virtualization, and level C for the analyzing and optimize. You can see for the journey of this to go from 1A, 2B, 3C, and 4D for this. That is can split for each activity and the journey of industrial IoT from this, and can do by modular roadmap as well. Okay, and also as I mentioned for the system analyst, that right now TGI try to build and create a lot more for this in order to help the business, help for the factory to make the right decision. For the example one, very simple, that when the system analyst or SA go to visit the factory and manufacturing, they have to analyze that your factory or your manufacturing is MTO or MTS. This is the first step that SA will go. What is MTO is mean is made to order manufacturing or factory, or MTS, made to store. Two business of MTO and MTS, they are different type of the business flow, business productivity, and for sure, this is the different business for the automation transformation as well. Okay, and this one for the automation transformation that can support for this. Okay, this is the apply for the corporation tax company corporation tax for the tax exemption 50% or 100% that is applied with the BOI Board of Investment or Revenue Department for this. In order to get you to know and invest with the tax exemption for this. This can show you for the letter of announcements for the RD Revenue Department that if you are invest for the automation investment, then tax can be exemption 100% of your investment for this. And this slide will show you on the table that you have to record for the investment and the project detail. And unfortunately, that is it in Thai. But if you would like to have more information, you can contact us later on this. Okay. The third one also important. After you make the project done, you can have your smart factory with the alternative revenue during for the operation and maintenance period. Because right now, EEC, HDC already prepare for this package. EEC is stand for Eastern Economic Corridor and HDC is Human Development Center that you can earn uh, earn the revenue for the operation and maintenance with the training with your manufacturing 4.0 on this. Okay, this will show you the government will pay half and also support for this factory. Okay, and here Tara is one sub service that can help you on this with the checklist. For this checklist, SA by Tara team will go and help for the evaluate of the business and also think that your business and your factory can be promoted by BOI or not. And in order to make this for the design and procurement for the automation and included for the funding of the low interest for your system as well. Okay, this will show you for the automation transformation with the tax policy that can show you and compare between BOI and the revenue department that all of this can help your factory with the 50% of 100% of tax exemption on this. Important things that this package will open until the end of this year. Okay. A part of the manufacturing industrial showcase, we would like to show you for the smart factory and automation warehouse that if you can see for the left-hand side, they will start from the 3D simulation for the smart factory design and also design with the system architecture for integration. And the right-hand side will show you for the how to implement the system with the robotic collaborate robot that can make pick and place and also the palletizing robot that can pick and place to the pallet and then also have the quantity robot also. This will show you very simple and can see that how can automation and digital can help you for the smart manufacturing. Okay, this is some reference that Tara can help you on this. Start from the conveyor input to the lifter and also convey to the robot pallet and depallet with the sortation and storage by mini load and also together with the pallet. Means that if your factory and also manufacturing interest for this investment with the automation, Tara and member can have the device, can have equipment to help and support you for this. Okay, this can be categorized by conveyor system, machine system, ASRS, and robotics. Okay, and here can show you that there are some use case that 16 SI work together for this, and we apply at least 14 country product to serve for the project with smart manufacturing. Okay, here is the member of Tara that we can support you on the next future. And right now we also have include with the telco for this Tara member as well. Okay, and on further step that we can have the information a part of the roadshow together that we already been together with the industrial estate, and also we will have the face page that can support for the factory uh, tax exemption. Okay, Tara organize that you can show for, we can see for this. That's it for today. If you have any question, feel free to ask, please.
Well, Mr. Sakda, thank you for a very informative presentation. For informing us about Thailand's automation industry tax policy. That's a very important topic. However, I just got a very sudden schedule change informed. Mr. Sakda is not joining the live Q&A, but since we will not close this platform even after today, you can always leave your message here for a later discussion. And also, the last slide, Mr. Sakda show his contact information. And also, you can fill in the feedback form, leave the comment or the questions you would like to ask Mr. Sakda. We will transfer those questions to him. All right, now that our conference has come to its end. Hard to say, but yes, the conference has come to its end. I would like to thank our participants who joined us today in this specialized virtual conference with online lobby and the exhibition booth, and also the function of networking. Special thanks to our business partner, Creaform, our VIP guest, GWM, and to all our speakers. Feel free to visit their booth after the event or leave a message at their booth. The booth managers will be very happy to arrange a meeting for you. Audience, we hope very much you can leave your valuable feedback so that we can provide you with better service. Now, I will copy the link again in the chat box. Also, you can find out the function at your left-hand side, the feedback form page. Simply put your opinions there. We can receive those. Once again, thank you everyone for gracing our virtual conference with your presence. We truly appreciate it. See you all again next time.
The fact that we were going to make very large parts, measuring feet and meters, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, we knew that a coordinate measurement machine was not going to cut it. So we looked at alternatives, and 3D scanning fit the bill.
We chose 3D scanning opposed to conventional measurement techniques because it allows us to get a full 3D surface model of what we just printed, and then we can take that and compare it back to the original CAD model.
A lot of times we have parts with unique features. We want to make sure those features are exactly where they need to be. So we need the 3D scans to encompass all of the complex features that
Minus 6, 5, 2, 1.
Here's where it all began. Where we pushed the boundaries for the very first time. Where we started rivaling the biggest names in the industry. Here's where our idea first saw the light of day. and where we started to see change. For 20 years, we've constantly reinvented ourselves, pushing the limits of what's possible. Behind every innovation, there's thoughtful deliberation, dogged determination, passion, and of course, some hesitation. We question ourselves at every turn to make sure we keep moving forward. In 20 years, we've seen the most promising technology come to life. Thanks to our quick-thinking teams, who find cutting-edge solutions every day, each one more ingenious than the next. Creaform. Over 650 professionals in 15 countries around the world, passionate about engineering and 3D measurement, and who never stop innovating.
First of all, it's super cool. This doesn't have to be part of it, but I think it's so cool. I love teaching people how to use the scanner and seeing the look on their face the first time they see the scan being created in the software while you're capturing it.
Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is a full-service provider of large metal parts using Lincoln's in-house additive technology. The fact that we are going to make very large parts, measuring feet and meters, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, we knew that a coordinate measurement machine was not going to cut it. So we looked at alternatives, and 3D scanning fit the bill.
We chose 3D scanning opposed to conventional measurement techniques because it allows us to get a full 3D surface model of what we just printed, and then we can take that and compare it back to the original CAD model.
A lot of times we have parts with unique features. We want to make sure those features are exactly where they need to be. So we need the 3D scans to encompass all of the complex features that we're printing and also make sure that we can verify all of those features are correct.
There are a number of benefits the Creaform Metricscan 3D provides to us. First of all, it is very fast, so we can measure our parts in a matter of minutes. Secondly, it allows us to take the measurement tool to the parts rather than the parts to the tool. Our parts are very heavy and large, so minimizing the movement of the parts is important to us.
What makes the Metricscan great is that it's a non-contact solution. We're able to scan our parts and verify dimensional quality anytime during the manufacturing process, even mid-print when the part is still too hot to touch.
The Metricscan helps our business because we can have confidence that every part that goes out the door is according to customer specifications. Also, it helps us in speed to market because it is such a fast way of measuring parts. Lincoln Electric Additive Solutions is growing, and as we expand, Creaform's Metricscan will continue to be an integral part of our manufacturing process.